And I want to say at the beginning, I had no idea what this was supposed to be. I went 7.5 years in business without a single core value. I didn't know what they should be. And when I joined the coaching program that Nicole and I are a part of, you get a copy of a handbook. And there were core values in there. And I was like, sweet, I don't even have to make up core values. Look, they're right here. I'm just going to go with those. And that was my core. Those were my core values for the first year. I'm telling you guys this so you can all laugh hilariously at my mistake and not do the same thing, because your core values need to be yours.
That is hilarious.
Music licensing reimagined.
All right, and welcome back to Our Business Shenanigans, where strategy meets sarcasm and entrepreneurship gets real. Hosted by myself, Jen, and Nicole, this podcast dives into the raw, unfiltered side of running a business. The wins, the failures, the hilarious chaos in between. Whether you're scaling your company, navigating the latest marketing trends, or just trying to survive another Monday, we bring practical insights, candid conversations, and a whole lot of business mischief. That was a tongue twister this morning.
Real messy sometimes, but real nonetheless.
Today, we're going to talk about something that sounds super boring until you realize it's actually the secret to not losing your mind as a business owner. Core values.
Yeah, like actual rules of engagement for working with us. Because spoiler alert, if you don't have core values, you're just winging it and hoping for the best.
And let's be honest, hope isn't a really good business strategy.
Yeah, and neither is hiring someone who can't show up on time and then wondering why your life feels like a dumpster fire.
So many dumpster fires along the way. If you're tired of chaos, hiring disasters, and wondering why your team isn't getting it, you probably don't have a value. You probably don't have a values problem. You have a clarity problem.
So today we're breaking down what real core values look like, why they matter more than you think, and how they'll save your sanity, your team, and your business.
Plus, we've got a few shenanigan stories where ignoring our core values came back to bite us so hard in the end. So buckle up. But first, make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow everywhere that we are. Wanted to jump into that first.
And let's get into it.
All right. So what are core values? Or your core values?
Our core values are transparency, grace, safety, do the right thing, and passion.
I love that. And ours, I mentioned before, are peachy. We're positive, ethical, accountable, consistent. We value health and safety, and you matter. In a bit, I'm like forecasting further on in the episode. We're going to talk about what my core values should have been according to Nicole, but we're not there yet. So what are core values specifically?
Core values are non-negotiable beliefs that your company stands for.
Yeah, they guide.
Yep. Go ahead.
They guide behavior, decision-making, leadership, and your brand identity. I bet you didn't know that.
They're who you are at your best and not who you hope to be someday. Wow, we're getting off to a rough start. And I say that we just keep all these bloopers in so they could see.
I feel like I'm here for it.
I feel like we're just really real and authentic.
And FYI, we're not scripted, but we do have bullet points. So that's what we're looking at on our screens right now. And her and I are both fumbling over all of the words this morning. So it must be a Tuesday portraying itself as a Monday. So we'll just go with that.
Yeah, and I'm all discombobulated because right before we started recording, Jen told me I had chapped lips.
Listen, you got to look your best for the camera, right? Because these people are listening to us.
Oh, boy. So without clear values, your team, decisions, and client experience get a little chaotic fast.
Yes, they do. So how do your core values show up in real life, though?
So I guess it from the very beginning. So do you mean in life or at work?
We could touch on both, actually.
All right. So I'll talk about business because I'm in business mindset mode. But hiring from the beginning, hiring aligned employees and versus culture disasters. When you hire someone just because they have the skill, but they don't live your values, say some examples, say they're negative, they're selfish, they cut corners, it's a ticking time bomb. Skill set means nothing to me if you lack the values that we operate off of. So when you hire someone who lives your values, even if they aren't perfect, say skill-wise, you can build them up and you can strengthen the culture instead of poisoning it.
Yeah, you can't train, like we talked about last episode, you can't train attitude. You can't train personality. You can't train so many of these skills. We can train almost anybody how to clean. Now there are instances we can't, but we can train almost anybody to clean. And I like Libby DeLucian had talked about core values once, and she was talking about how your core values carry over into everything. If you end up owning multiple businesses, your core values are still your core values. So even if you have 3 or 4 different businesses, your core values are going to be very similar across all of the businesses because they all need to align with you if you are the one that's leading and you're the one that's pushing everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be something that shows up in your day to day. I took a leadership class for like a year almost, and one thing he said is make it your language in your business. Like it should be the vocabulary that you're using. You know, your hard and fast rules, but in your day to day, you should probably be saying all of your core values at least once.
Yeah, I agree. So retraining great team members who believe in the mission. So values become the glue that keeps great people loyal even when the job is hard. Team members who believe in your mission fight for the brand, not just their paycheck. Our team, except for, probably a handful of the newbies, they know our core values and they know what my favorite core value is whenever we recite them. I'm very open and honest, but we talk about them at staff meetings. We talk about them in our communications channel. We talk about them when we are training up new people, when our trainers are looking at new people. We talk about our core values all the time.
Yeah, and even when you're navigating client issues, when a client disrespects your team or undermines your standards, having strong core values gives you the backbone to fire them without guilt. If you don't respect our values, then you don't get our service.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. So my favorite one is the last one, and it's "You Matter," and that one pretty much encompasses the client, the employee, everybody. So if you are treating somebody else as though they don't matter, then you are not a fit with our core values. So core values also help you make faster leadership decisions when you're stuck. Core values act like a GPS when you're overwhelmed or second guessing. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just ask, which choice lines up with our values?
Yes, I definitely believe in hiring and firing based off of your core values.
Yeah. So
My-
we have, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay.
I was just going to go into my example, but you were about to expand on what you were just talking about. So go ahead.
My office manager, she's so good at her job. She really is. Like when I say she's good at her job, she's better at doing the things that she is I guess the tasks that are delegated to her. Like she does the hiring and firing. She's clearly better at both. But I love a few years ago, we had a girl that we needed to fire. She had a really poor attitude, if I'm honest. Like she came in for reset and wouldn't even look at me. She's like texting on her phone and brought in one bottle. But when we do our reset for our stock days, you bring in your whole kit and, we make sure that it's clean, tidy, and that everything's filled up for you. From our experience, we always have a joke in the office that we just need them to be really good at cleaning. That's it. I don't need them to do anything else or cloud their mind with anything else. So when they would bring in their kit, we would just make sure they have everything because from our experience, probably 90% of the time we catch something else that they're about to run out of. Yep. So we're saving them that trip, right? Back to the office. So when she came in, she just brought one bottle and she wouldn't even look at me and she was texting the whole time. We have a joke. We still talk about it to this day. We're like, she had no idea I was the owner.
That's funny.
She was always super nice to Lindsay, but all of the teammates hated her attitude. She was rude to me, wouldn't even look at me, huffed and puffed, went and got her kit, came back in. And then she called out, but it wasn't even like a call out. It was more like, I can't even explain it. All of that to say, she was not a good fit. She was 2 weeks in. Nobody wanted to work with her. She was rude to me, you name it. So when Lindsay fired her, she straight up told her, she pulled out, the core values. And she really outlined the core values and said, you're not a good fit. And I was like, wow, I'm proud of you. I knew I needed to fire her, but I didn't have the words to convey that, right? Mm-hmm. And Lindsay was really good and brought it back to the core values. And I was like, you're absolutely right.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. We had, I've got 2 examples of when we are fired because of core values. And one, this was years ago. This was before I even really had a firm grasp on what core values were. I think it was like right after we even came up with my new set of core values. And we had a technician who was on the newer side. And she was out with a trainee, I think doing a little bit of retraining. And I had the trainer come in and talk to me at the end of the day. And she was like, she's really nice, has a great attitude, but when she was cleaning, I went back and there was a lot of stuff that she missed. And I would take her someplace and I would go, hey, I just wanted to point out the windowsill. I did the windowsill. Well, okay, you may have thought that you did, but let's take a look at it together. Like, I don't know where that came from. I did it. Like, would just double down and not take accountability. And that's a huge red flag. Like, we all make mistakes. I'm the first. Anytime I make a mistake, I'm the first to jump in the group chat and say, hey guys, I've screwed up. For example, a couple weeks ago, a couple people tiered paid, or their tips didn't take for the whole team because of how we ported it into Gusto, our unofficial sponsor of the podcast.
Gusto didn't do anything wrong. Jen
Gusto
did something
didn't.
wrong.
No, I didn't do anything wrong. My person doing the payroll did something wrong. But in her defense, it was like the second time she did payroll. So basically, it pulled them over as cash tips, so it didn't pay them out. So as soon as I noticed that, I was on the Slack channel with everybody taking full responsibility because I didn't train my office manager well enough on it, and said, listen, if you guys need a paycheck today, if you need these tip checks today, I will have them ready to go and we can get them to you. Otherwise, they'll be direct deposit on Monday. But I'm so sorry that this happened, and we will do everything we can to make sure it doesn't happen again. So if I'm not going to take accountability for my mistakes, I can't expect my team to. So that first one that I just talked about, definitely she had to go because she couldn't take accountability for anything. And it was that way throughout the house. All the things that she missed. No, I did that. I don't understand why it's sold. That just wouldn't come clean. Well, no, that's an accountability issue. And then the second one we had somebody who was really young. She was, 22. And she really just thought she knew everything. She had cleaning experience, which is why this is one of the reasons why you will hear us say sometimes we don't even want people to have cleaning experience, because then we have to train out bad habits. And this person just thought she knew everything. She wanted to be a deep clean specialist. She wanted to be a trainer, all the things, but you couldn't tell her anything. And when she would get to a job, she was so black and white on everything. And it was like, nope, I can't do this job. There, I saw a spider. Well, when we talk about insect infestations, spiders are not one of them, because we are in Florida and there are literally spiders everywhere. So that constant backbiting was obviously not a positive culture. And she treated everybody else like they didn't matter because she thought she knew everything. So the final straw was when she showed up to work reeking like pot, to the point where our office smelled like it for like an hour or so after that. And I sent her home and I said, you can't work in people's houses this way. Well, there's nobody even at home in my houses today. This is ridiculous. I'm just going to go. And you know what? She ended up quitting. Have good luck replacing me. And it was just that bad attitude, that no accountability. She treated everybody else like they didn't matter. So like literally she ticked off all of the boxes of what not to be when you become a peach.
Did she have experience before you hired her?
She did. She worked for some company doing vacation cleans, I think is what it was.
What is it with? It's like there's so many different industries, but especially the cleaning industry, it's almost like they teach you to just be a horrible person. There's
Right.
so many, and I think that goes back to, are you dealing or coming from a reputable business?
Mm-hmm.
Because that attitude would never last with us. So why did they last with the previous companies is what I don't understand. And I think that it goes back to core values and so many other things, systems and processes.
Right.
But they were obviously lacking.
Yeah, absolutely. So both of those technicians had to go, and we let them go because of that. But that's what we do with every single hire when we're talking about like their evaluations, or when they're going through that first week of training. How do they align with our core values? There are things we need to point out. And actually, while we're sitting here talking, I think one of the things I want to add to our 5 days of training is every day find something positive that they did that align with our core values, so that we can really dig deep into that. I need to make a note of that.
I really like that. I'm going to write that down.
Make a note of that and email it to me. So do you have a story of when a client wasn't an obvious fit because of your core values?
But yeah. So, we had a client that treated our techs poorly. She signed up. It was a promotion. This wasn't that long ago. We had a promotion where if you signed up for recurring cleanings, you could get a discounted deep clean, a steeply discounted, mind you.
Right.
So we sent our best techs for this deep clean, of course, our deep clean specialist and all. And they went to go clean. And like as they're cleaning, I think they weren't even done in the bathroom yet, or they had just walked out. I don't remember. But the shower glass had really hard etched on hard water stains. You know, that happens. And
Yep.
at some point, it's not even a maintenance issue anymore. It's neglect that is etched in.
Right.
I saw the before and afters, and it was like night and day, but you could still see like the etching at the bottom. Um, she went off and yelled at my team. I mean, made our team very uncomfortable.
Oh my
It was to the
gosh.
point we were about to pull our team off of the job. And I think the husband kind of caught wind of how she was being so disrespectful. So she ended up leaving, so to speak. But she even called the cleaner. I think she was in the next room, and she
Hmm.
called her back into the bathroom to like belittle and berate her. Um,
Jeez.
but she ended up leaving. So we finished the job. I hate putting my team in an awkward situation. So when that happened, so many people, like even old me back in the day, would have probably told my team, cower down, do what she says, try again, whatever.
Got to save every single client. Every dollar counts, right?
Yeah. And now that we have shifted to core values and an employee first company, our clients still matter. And we still go above and beyond for our clients. But my staff is my number one client, every single cleaner on the front lines. So, with that said, we went ahead, we finished the cleaning. She wasn't there. We made it very clear to our entire team, let us know if she comes back or if she gives you any issues. Um, all of that to say, after we finished, we contacted and let her know that we are not going to move forward with her recurring cleanings. We feel like we might be setting ourselves up for failure, or, we worded it as to where
Right.
we're not able to meet your needs. But we ate the discount. Pretty standard. If they were to discontinue, we would charge the discounted rate because they didn't fulfill their commitment in the contract.
Hmm.
Well, all of that to say, I said, no, I don't care about whatever I lost. It's not worth losing my employees. Not going to ever put a tech, especially a solo tech, in that position ever again. She's not a good fit. So we just let her go.
Yep.
Wiped her
When people,
hand, was done with it.
yeah, when people show you who they are, believe them. If that's how she treated them on day one, then that's how she's going to continue to treat them. We actually had to pull a technician off a job yesterday because she showed up and the person that we were going to clean for was drunk and there were empty bottles, like vodka bottles all over the room. And he was asking her to like strip the beds and things like that, which is all stuff that we can do. But it was weird because he wouldn't talk to us about it. And that's a huge no-no in our world. Any communication has to go through the office so that the technician has accurate job notes, right? But the fact that he was inebriated when she got there and just making her feel really uncomfortable, we pulled the plug. I'm not gonna risk her safety for what, $140 priority clean or $180 priority clean. That's not.
We've had a few safety incidents. We had one guy. So we have shoe covers upon request that we send. They're OSHA approved, slip resistant, you name it. This client was upset that we were cleaning, but we were still walking on the floors. Okay, like if you would have requested the shoe covers, we would have sent them, but you didn't. He actually got mad at the team because they wouldn't wrap grocery bags around their feet. Like he really, really got, and mind you, this was a free cleaning to him.
Mm-hmm.
He was very upset about that. We've also had a situation where we were cleaning a house. The people they were batshit crazy. Excuse my language. They
We need
were,
to do an episode about like the worst clients we've ever had and the best clients we've ever had because we
well,
have some pretty amazing clients too.
when we went to go, it was a move out. And they had like little kids and they were like locked in a room painting for hours in one room, mind you.
Okay.
Like, yeah, it was
That's
weird.
weird.
And so like they had all the windows taped off. I mean, it was just weird. So they complained. So we went back to touch on the issues that they had complained about. Now, spoiler alert, the areas they complained about were areas that were blocked off or not ready to be cleaned because they're in the
Of course.
process of like, it was weird. So when we went, I took the team. We were going to use it as a training session to just really touch on the details. Every single area is an area that we had pictured that was like wasn't ready to be cleaned. Like we're talking cabinets that were filled with dishes to the brim, which we can't clean inside and
Right.
out for real. Little things like that. But I went to the bathroom. Apparently, like they left behind their cocaine stash. So as soon as I saw that, I said, "Pack up, we're leaving. I'm not
Yep.
dealing with this." She
Nope.
was she was a professor. That's all I'm gonna say.
No,
Yeah.
that's so dangerous because who knows what other kind of drugs are in there and you can absorb that through your skin and no thanks.
As soon as I saw it, so it probably wasn't the most professional response, but I told them that our job was done and that the moment we found drugs, we left. And they were like, "What do you mean?" And I kind of left it at that, but I should have been like, "You left your drugs behind. You should probably come
Wait,
get them."
did you taste it? Are you sure it wasn't sugar or just flour left
Oh,
behind in
I'm
the bathroom?
positive. I'm positive. It was like stuffed in a pill bottle, a bunch. Yeah.
I mean, she may have needed an emergency thickening agent while she was out eating somewhere and needed just a little bit of cornstarch, and you're judging her and telling
In
her
the
it was,
bathroom.
yeah, you never know. Listen,
Okay.
people come up with all the things. We did
Yeah.
a shower one time, and then we can move on to the next topic. And we sprayed the shower down. This was back when we were still using bleach. And sprayed it down, and the whole shower turned blue. And so I did a quick Google search, and I was like, what chemical turns blue when you spray bleach on it? And the first thing that came up was cocaine. And I'm like, why would there be cocaine all over all the shower walls? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But we still cleaned it, and I'm alive today to talk about it. So it must not have messed me up too bad.
I wonder if it had like that foam scrubbing bubbles or something on it.
Oh, maybe.
There's one
Oh,
of
like
those
the
that turned
kaboom
blue.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I don't care.
No.
I
All
don't
right.
even
So
clean my own shower anymore.
I don't either. And it's been a couple months because I was traveling and then our schedule's been tight. And so it's getting done tomorrow. Fingers crossed that my house actually stays on the schedule for tomorrow. So we both mentioned our core values at the beginning of the episode, but now we're going to talk about why they are core values and why they matter. And I want to say at the beginning, I had no idea what this was supposed to be. I went 7.5 years in business without a single core value. I didn't know what they should be. And when I joined the coaching program that Nicole and I are a part of, you get a copy of a handbook. And there were core values in there. And I was like, sweet, I don't even have to make up core values. Look, they're right here. I'm just going to go with those. And that was those were my core values for the first year. I'm telling you guys this so you can all laugh hilariously at my mistake and not do the same thing because your core values need to be yours.
That is hilarious. Even picking out core values, for me, I didn't want the generic, integrity and all the things that you should naturally already have in a business. So I picked ones that were deeply rooted, for how I wanted to operate my company. And I mean, all of my core values are super important to me, but definitely grace, right? Grace is a big one for me.
You are
But
always talking about that one. I love it.
oh, absolutely. There's just so many moments where people think that because grace is a core value that we just put up with everything, but it's actually just meaning grace evokes a harmonious and productive environment, right? It reveals your true character. So we don't expect perfection, but we want you trying, right? It's about leaving room for mistakes, learning, and growing. And another part of that comes with when we don't address hard and fast conversations, it's ungraceful to the rest of the team. I can extend, sometimes grace comes with the write up because I have to
Absolutely.
protect the company. So I absolutely love grace. For me, doing the right thing definitely comes from my old mentor. He used to always say that. He would say, doing the right thing is always the right thing. And that really resonated in me. And I realized that it's doing the right thing is making decisions that aren't based on our own needs or popularity. It's doing what's best for the greater good. It's not what's easy, it's usually what's harder.
Yeah. No, I love that. I was talking to Michelle Kruger, a mutual friend of ours, and I love hers too. Hers are do the right thing, have fun, and make money. She said all of us are here for all of those things. To do the right thing, have fun while we're doing it, and to make money at the end of the day. We're not doing this as a nonprofit. Our technicians aren't doing this as a donation. They're there to make money. And if we're doing the right thing and having fun, then that money will follow as well.
I love that. That's so Michelle. We need
It
to
is.
have her.
We are. We need to talk and set up a date, but yes, we are going to have her on, whether she likes it or not, because she's not one for the camera. But we're pushing her out of that comfort zone. So, like I said, mine were borrowed in the beginning. And when we decided that I wanted to hone in on those, I wanted to do an acronym. And I know that that sounds super cheesy, but I spoke in the last episode about how my trainer will tell us that somebody's not working out by saying they're just not a peach. So I wanted to be able to incorporate that, because if they're not a peach, that, embodies our core values and everything too. So I actually put it out to my team and I said, hey, I need you guys to give me words that start with the letters in peachy. And they threw out a ton of words. And so I put it all on a sheet and had them all vote. And so they all voted together to say what our company means. And I feel like they hit the nail on the head. I feel like ours embody everything that we do.
Even though you should have went with my suggestion.
Yeah, I have that a little bit further on. Do you want to jump into that now? I have it when we were going to talk about how to create core values at work, because somebody else might need those core values. When we get to that point, they may need those, and they're welcome to steal those.
We'll bring it up later, so keep tuning in.
Right, it's a teaser.
For us, even when we're hiring and training, our core values are rooted in. So we won't hire someone that clearly is not a good fit for our core values. And then even in our training binder, we repeat our core values throughout, and they're always like blue and italics, like we're trying to ingrain our core values into everyone on our team.
Yeah, I love that. You've got to bring it into staff meetings too. So when we talk to the team as a whole and we're addressing issues that have happened with more than one person, we try to incorporate our core values into that. Hey, this is a situation that's been happening numerous times. This doesn't align with our core values because of XYZ. So we need to talk to the whole team about it, so that if you see somebody doing it, you can say something and help gently coach them and correct them. And you can recognize it in yourself when you're at the jobs doing them.
Yeah, especially when you're coaching or hiring and firing, all of those things are definitely when you need to really hit on the core values.
Yeah. And that can even go into your promotions and recognition too. If one of your core values is attendance matters, then make that a big thing and make it to where, hey, we've had a whole month and, so-and-so hasn't called out once. They are rocking one of our core values. Make sure that you play into them so that they see the good side of those core values too, not just when they're being quote unquote disciplined.
We have in our wall, in our office, there's a wall that says Paragon Gyms, and I love it. It's where they can earn these badges for different things. Even a re-clean. If you get some feedback and you need to go do a re-clean, you get a satisfaction guarantee badge because you went above and beyond to make sure the client was happy. So we try to celebrate that. But one of the badges that we just rolled out is one where you don't necessarily just earn it from the office. It's not you completed this or did this, so now, you get the badge. It's one where our team can nominate each other. We rolled out a core value badge.
I love that.
Yeah, it's going to be one where the office doesn't necessarily just give it out because you completed a task, but I want the team to nominate each other.
So you put the badges on their pictures in the office, correct?
Yes. They all have a frame picture with the badges on them.
Can they earn the badge more than once? So can they get the core value badge 10 times if they're caught, or is it a one for a year or something like that?
I never even thought of that. I love that.
I'm just curious. I'm asking more for my logistic purposes. If I decide to do this, how you guys handle that?
We're going to need bigger frames.
Yeah. I'm going to need you to type up all of these notes and send them to me as well so I don't forget. Thank you so much.
Of course, ma'am.
So if they're not used daily, they're just empty words.
Yeah, absolutely. At my company, they're not just words. They're how we make decisions, how we hire, how we fire, how we lead. If you can't get behind them, then you can't build a career here.
Right. So let's talk about some warning signs that you have fake core values.
Well, you copied somebody else's handbook.
This is what I do. I make myself transparent and I get ridiculed for it, but I wouldn't change it. I love it.
Wow, that's one of our core values. You're doing great.
Right. We need to come up with the RBS core values and what those look like. But no, I shared that story to tell you that we obviously don't have it all together. There are times when I just copy and paste it and, it worked for a time.
Did it though?
Right. Well, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, what are common mistakes that businesses make besides copying and pasting somebody else's handbook?
The first one is they're probably fake core values if nobody on your team can actually name what your core values are.
Or the one that I hit on earlier is they're super generic, like integrity, excellence, without specifics.
Thank you for not putting in any of my words on there. I appreciate that. Um, they aren't reflected in how you hire, fire, promote, or coach. So again, like we talked about earlier, we hire and fire based on our core values. And if your whole business doesn't revolve around that, then they're probably fake core values.
Another way is if your leadership isn't modeling them daily. If you have leadership in place that is leading your entire team, that's not living and breathing these core values, they're probably fake.
Yep. And if you can't fire somebody for violating them, you probably don't have real core values yet. All right, if you're still with us, here's your reminder. Core values aren't just some fluffy HR thing that you slap on a website. They are literally how you stop hiring chaos and start building a team that actually makes your life easier.
Right? And half of the fires that we've had to put out in our businesses probably could have been avoided if we just stuck to our core values instead of getting blinded by the shiny resume and the smooth talker.
That smooth talker. Been there, done that. So if you're thinking, dang, I might actually need to write some core values down, you're not alone. We've been there.
But seriously, don't worry. We're about to walk you through exactly how to build core values that actually mean something and how to spot the fakes a mile away.
Yep, so stick with us because the second half of this episode is about making sure your business doesn't turn into a game of what fresh hell is this every Monday morning.
Because guess what? Real leadership starts with real clarity.
Yep, so now we're going to talk about creating real core values that work. So when I was revamping my core values a year and a half ago, and I told Nicole, I told you, listen, I get ridiculed all the time. And she's like, oh, let me help. And she starts doing acronyms for the word peachy. And one of the ones that she came up with was my favorite. Nicole, do you want to talk about it?
So she needed something that went with peachy. So obviously the only answer was people eager to abuse company hours get yeeted. But through all of that, what really broke my heart is they were stuck on the why for a little bit. Even though they did good, we're not going to talk about that. This isn't a praise sesh, okay? I really think that the why should be yeeted.
Because she even made me a motivational poster that said, I believe in the power of yeet. And we will insert the screenshots from both of those because they're hilarious.
I just think that that would look really good above your desk. So inspiring.
I think it needs to go in Amanda's office, my office manager, because she's the one yeeting everybody.
Okay, now back to our regularly scheduled program. Let's talk about how to come up with your core values.
Yeah, so some actionable steps that you can take is one, look at your top 2 to 3 rockstar employees. What do they have in common?
And two, you can define values based on observable behavior and not just traits.
Yep. Keep it to 4 to 6 strong values. Too many means no focus. Like Nicole talked about earlier, I think she was the one that said it. You have to have clarity. If you've got more than 6, it's probably too jumbled and probably overlapping core values.
And when you are picking, embed values into interviews, training, staff reviews, and culture conversations.
And one that we didn't talk about before this that I think is also a really good one is go talk to people around town in your friends groups, at your networking groups, and say, hey, when I say just peachy clean, what words come to mind? And so you get to hear what your values are exuding to people outside of your business. Because sometimes what we want to put out there is not always what we do put out there. So if I say, ask somebody, hey, real honest feedback. If I say just peachy clean, what's the first word that comes to your mind? If
Yeet. You're not a good fit, Yeet.
Obviously. But if they say something like stringent, well, I don't want that word, so that may be something that people are seeing from the outside that we didn't want to portray, but we are actually portraying. So sometimes that's a good exercise as well.
Remember when we did the episode on staffing gone wrong?
Yep.
Yeet.
Listen, there's so many people throughout the years that should have been yeeted. Maybe I should have made that one.
So, what is a time that you ignored your core values when hiring or partnering or leading and it blew up?
So when leading, we've had one recently that I can't get into a lot of details because I'm getting ready to go to court about it, but I didn't lead from our core values. And it is very evident with this person that I did not lead with our core values. We gave this person chance after chance after chance. I, at the time, thought I was leading from my core values. And, oh, you matter, so let me help bail you out of this situation. You matter. Let me help make sure that this is taken care of for you. Kind of like what you were talking about with the employee that you had the mutiny with. And, oh, you've had 6 absences in 6 months. Ugh, all right, well, we know that you've got it really rough at home. So, like, in ways that I thought I was living out our core values, I was actually ignoring them for the rest of my team, and that wasn't fair for them.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah. Do you have any?
So many. But I think more so it's a time of the past, because now it's so ingrained in who we even bring on our team that we just don't have that chaos anymore. You know, we actually have decent human beings on our team. And I'm not devaluing anybody else that was on our team in the past before these values existed, but there was a lot of chaos that came. So I probably have hired a lot of people along the way that weren't a good fit at that time, right? And maybe down the road, once they cleared up, like you said, that person had a lot of personal stuff going on. Maybe their time would have been better suited once all of that got situated. Right? She probably would have been a totally different person for you. But a big thing for us is going back, we were in a bind where we were dealing with a lot of it was almost like we had to micromanage, because it was just at the time, it was so much chaos, but it was all just very juvenile. And so we hired the first person that came in with a good head on her shoulders. She seemed serious about a job, you name it. But fast forward a year later, everybody on the team was scared of her, including me. We were just, and she just was very abrasive, extremely abrasive, for no reason, just woke up like that.
Right. Like, what did you have such bad dreams that's how you just start the day?
Good morning, how are you? Good, I'm in. Okay, like that, just to summarize daily. But it wasn't a good core value fit, but she's not on the team anymore. And it was one of we thought that, we hate to lose a tech. We never want to lose a tech, especially when your team has grown close to these people, you name it. But I have never in my life seen my entire team sigh with a sigh of relief after they quit seeing her name on the schedule. It was bad.
Yeah. Yeah. That's hard too, because then you look at it and you go, oh my gosh, I see how much sooner I should have done this. Like, seeing the relief on your team's face, and the office team's face as well. Like, we talk in the office all the time about how our job is to make our technicians' lives easier. Like, at the end of the day, we are there to make sure that everything is running smoothly for them so that they can do their job. But if you have a tech that is constantly making life miserable for the office as well, that's not any fun either. And that's not fair for them to be abused because this person keeps calling out, or this person has an attitude, or this person constantly refuses work, or doesn't want to work with certain people. Like, it needs to be full circle. It's not just all about our technicians. The office staff is important too, although the technicians are our VIPs.
You need everyone working together as a well-oiled machine.
Yes.
We're not opponents. We're not going against each other. We have to work well together. That means that we have to do our part in the office, setting up the client when we onboard a client, making sure that everything is clear and concise for the team to set them up for success. And then we need them to do a good job, the best that they can at these clients' houses, because it's just all around for the client experience.
Absolutely. Well, back to the girl that I told you that came in smelling like weed. We had one, I think it was that house that actually had the spiders in it. She called the office and started yelling at my assistant at the time and was going off on her. And I took the phone from her and shut it down and said, you need to come in and talk to me. That's how I found out she was smelling like weed, whatever. But she kept yelling at my office assistant at the time, you set me up for failure. You set me up for failure. Like, this was, I couldn't have won this job no matter how hard I tried. This was ridiculous. And I literally had to take a step back and stop her and say, do you really think that the office would set you up for failure? Like, at the end of the day, do you think that we are sitting here going, Oh man, I don't like this technician. Let's set her up for failure because we want to look bad in front of our clients. We are going to set every technician up for success, whether the technician is good, bad, or indifferent, because at the end of the day, they're the ones out there doing the work. If we have to have a conversation afterwards, absolutely. But we are never going to intentionally set you up for failure. That's setting the company up for failure. And that's just bizarre school of thought.
Yeah, core values aren't about being fancy. They're really just about being clear.
Yep. They help you say yes faster to the right people and no faster to the wrong ones. All right. You any final thoughts on this episode?
Oh, I think this was a good one.
I think it was a good one too. And I think we got through it pretty quick. I thought it was going to be a longer one, but I feel like we touched on everything.
I would love to see everyone's core values.
Yes.
If you listen to this episode as a business owner, go ahead, drop your core values in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to hear them. So we're here at the end of the podcast, and you know what time it is. It's time for you to subscribe if you haven't already. How about you leave us a review? That would be super sweet. Like, we might love you forever if you do that.
Yeah, drop your current core values in the comments and confess if you realize you need to create some, or you could do what Jen did and confess if you just stole somebody else's.
I didn't steal. I borrowed. I gave them back. I didn't use them. And share this episode with another business owner who is trying to build a stronger team or company culture. Also, don't forget to check out our website, ourbusinessshenanigans.com. All of our episodes are live on there as well. Last week's got posted really late. And when I say late, I mean like last night before we recorded this one today. But we will get them up. I promise.
All right. Well, y'all have a good one. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Bye, guys.